Welcome to episode number 77 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. It is December 11th. My name is Daryl. Yes, it is me, even though I kind of have a cold, so I'm enjoying my bass voice today. But I'm all right. I'm here to talk about Pokemon and other things, among another person. One of my favorite people. Sergio, how are you, man?
Hey man, I'm doing pretty awesome. I'm still loving Pokemon. I'm on the quest of catching them all. Life has been exponentially better since that game came out.
Oh, wow. That's good to hear, and we'll get into all the reasons why after I introduce our other co-host. You know him. You tolerate him. You might even love him. Who knows? Kevin, how are you, man?
Man, okay, I'm doing pretty
To be
decent.
fair, you tolerate all of us. I hope you do. You're listening to us right now, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a tolerable person. I'm good. I'm feeling pretty good, man. As y'all know from last time, I do not like the Kirkland organic ginger lemonade kombucha packaging. Not the actual kombucha. Because every time I open it, it just fizzes and spills.
And yet you keep buying it. Vote with your wallet, man.
Well, the thing is, like, I didn't know. Well, I bought a 12-pack. I'm almost done with the 12-pack.
Oh, good. Buy more of it.
I'm not. Well, I may not buy more of it, but I did do a trick where, just a couple minutes ago, I had the bottle. I knew it was gonna fizz out, and then in the sink, I had the cup ready. I was like, ba-bam, pour that bleep in, and no spillage. So I had a very enjoyable time pouring the kombucha into the cup. We're going off track. I'm good to go. Daryl,
New
how are you doing?
episode title, No Spillage. There you go.
No spillage. How are you doing, Daryl, besides your sickness?
Yeah, I'm all right. Other than it's a little difficult to talk, but that could not persuade me to not talk about Pokemon because I need to talk about Pokemon. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, welcome to, I didn't make a mistake this time. It's actually going to be our Game of the Month episode for Pokemon. Hooray! So Pokemon is our Game of the Month for December, which I know we just had one for Luigi's Mansion in November. That's just how it works out in the holiday season, don't you know?
Yeah.
So, but first, Kevin, what are we talking about first?
Oh man, let me tell you. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Indie Showcase. Yeah.
Hey, that was actually kind of musical. I like that.
Yeah, and then we're going to talk about we're not going off the wall or whatever we usually do, but or in certain episodes. We're going to
Pokemon.
Oh yeah, on the spot. I don't know why I thought about off the wall, but okay.
Yeah, that's our next segment idea. Off the wall.
Okay. But we're going to
Actually,
talk
that's
about
just like every segment.
off the wall. But for real though, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Sword and Shield.
That was a little
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh
nice.
for me, but
Oh,
we'll take it.
We're not going to do it today though. Not today, but
Oh, we might.
you know what?
It depends on how you guys feel about Pokemon. So,
So we will.
because I personally love it. So yeah, we're gonna go on.
Oh.
But
All right.
first,
Yes.
we're gonna talk about Indie World.
Yes.
So Sergio, since I don't want to describe it, what was Indie World?
Well, just yesterday, as of this recording, Nintendo showed another bunch of new incoming indie games that are coming out. A lot of trailers, specifically gameplay trailers, which is very nice to see. Now, I don't mean to sound too negative, but my overall thoughts on the indie showcase is everything they showed looked okay, but nothing grabbed me. Nothing was like, oh, I gotta get that. I don't know.
Nothing?
What do you guys think?
Really?
No, not
Nothing?
really. No.
Man, you know
Oof.
what?
I got one.
Whoa. What is it?
Oh, it's yours. Go ahead.
Oh, it's mine? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it what I think it is? Is
I
it
don't think so.
Sports Story? Is that
Yeah.
the one? Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. It's Sports
Okay.
Story, which they
All
kicked off the presentation with, and we're all going, "Oh wow, that's a great way to start a presentation." So yeah, Golf Story's getting a sequel, y'all.
Oh man, and and this time it has different sports like baseball, tennis, football. I meant football.
Sometimes
not,
all combined in weird ways.
Yeah.
not I see football as in the soccer, but anyway, and yes, in different ways, and some more stuff. So now, as continuing with Daryl's joke from before, if you don't know about baseball, tennis, soccer, or those sports, or you know of
Have
it,
we got a game for you?
we do. You can go for multiple walks, so we can talk about these games. No, but yeah, I thought that was a great way to start the whole thing, and that was the one game that grabbed me. Oh, and another one, but
And another one.
and another one.
Actually, all of them did. No.
Well, no, not all of them.
But let me just say, for a game that, I mean, I checked into it all the way back in episode 2 of this show. We listed Golf Story as a must-play on Nintendo Switch. I still think it is. And it is so cool to see a sequel for that game coming. I'm very excited about it, despite how my voice sounds right now.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Well, you know what? I mean, you're absolutely right. And just this game is, Golf Story is a must play. It's just really quirky. The dialogue is great. You have like an old guy rapping against a young guy, and the old guy won, and the young guy's like, "Oh, bleep." Well, he doesn't really cuss, but that's what I think he would say. Yeah,
just all the dialogue in that game was fantastic. The gameplay
Yeah.
was really good, and it was just a fun time. So, yeah, I'm all in on the sequel. Sergio, not really for you?
Not really, and I think you can tell that I didn't play the game. I know it's great. I did start it, but it's like Celeste. Everyone that has played it has pretty much loved it. So it was the biggest surprise of the showcase, and it was nice to see it first. But still, for someone that didn't play the first one, I'll pass.
Fair enough.
All good.
All right, so Sergio, was there one that you actually liked from it?
If anything, it would be Skatebird.
Yes, that's a good one.
So it's basically you play as little real birds dressed up, and you are skateboarding around a table that has like a skate park built into it, and it looks pretty neat. You can do tricks. It kind of looks like a chibi version of Tony Hawk in a way, but with birds, and there's still different things to collect. My only concern with the game, if anything, is that I hope there's a lot of variety in the stages. If there is, I might be compelled enough to purchase it.
It would be so nice if there's actually a Tony Hawk, like an actual hawk named Tony, skating. Like that would be
Yeah,
so
because you
dope.
know that's how they came up with this.
Yes.
That's probably how they did. Oh man, yeah. I mean, sign me up for that game. I will play it.
And I think for me, the only other game I really want to talk about from this is actually Boyfriend Dungeon. I think that they game. No, I'm kidding. So
I thought you were serious.
It is different. It is different, and
no, and I would feel remiss to not talk about Axiom Verge 2, but I did not like the original game. I don't really want to go into reasons on that, but so I'm not too hyped for that. What I am hyped for is the Survivalists, actually, because this is the same team that made the Escapist games, which I really, really like the Escapist games. They're really nice online co-op games. I wrote a review on a different site a long time ago on it. I've been praising that game for forever. So yeah, sign me up for the Survivalists.
Nice. I've heard a lot about just that sort of prison game, and I'm looking forward to Survivalists. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna keep on the lookout. Wait, wasn't there two of them that they made for?
Yeah, Escapist 1 and 2. Which 2 is basically just a better version, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. And there is another one so the other one that I was thinking about is Murder by Numbers. Solving puzzles and all that. This is kind of like a detective sort of game. Or you're solving puzzles to find clues and all that, and it's in LA. Very good. I mean, like Donut County. I don't know how to make that connection, but I mean, it's not like Donut County, but the scene, like the reference of LA is there. But anyway, yeah. So that's the only one I was looking at. Yeah, that was it. I mean, and there's Oddworld, but
a shadow drop of Dauntless, which is cool. I'll pick that up and try it. I don't know much about that game other than it's kind of a Monster Hunter game. But, I'll try it. Why not?
Yeah.
It's free. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me for Indie World. You guys have anything else you want to talk about on that?
I mean, you kind of joked about it with Boyfriend Dungeon. The dungeon crawler parts of it, they do look fun. They look pretty fast paced and interesting. I'm not too sure about the dating sim part of it. I haven't played one of those. I don't know if I want to. And I kind of feel like when you mix two genres like that, one is very slow paced, one is fast paced. I don't know how well that's gonna go. So I'm interested. I'm interested.
Yeah, me too. I just want to see like how they come up with this whole like this theme, and I mean, it could be a dark horse for next year. We don't know.
No,
I mean,
absolutely not. No. I'm gonna stop that right now.
Okay, all right. Well,
like,
there we go.
There will be people who will play that and really enjoy it. That's awesome. I'm glad for them, but no, it's not a dark horse.
I tried. Look, I tried. I mean, you never know. Like maybe the dungeon crawling aspect of it is actually really, really well done. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about that. Yeah. So I have nothing else to talk about for Indian World.
Well, we do have something else to talk about, and Kevin, I mean, you want to lead us into it?
Yes. I've already done the intro for it, but we're gonna talk about Pocket Monsters. That's right. The original name of that, well, it's Pokemon, but Pocket Monsters, same thing. Pokemon being the abbreviation of Pocket Monsters. Sword and Shield, Generation 8. A lot of talk about the game, a lot of controversies about the game from a lot of people complaining and trying to defend Game Freak and all that. Y'all know about the months leading up to it. If you've been following the news, this game, I mean, gosh, I finished it the other day, and I'm like, I do have a rating, but before I get into that, I just want to talk about a couple things. Like, first, before we do, I kind of want to start with Sergio, since you had a very unique way of playing the game, and I wanted to talk about that because I was like, wow, like you pretty much beat the game with one Pokemon. Is that correct?
Yes, just one Pokemon in my team and in all the battles. Yes.
And which Pokemon was that?
That was Scorbunny, which I nicknamed Scorbuddy.
Oh, really?
Scorbuddy. Ooh.
Yes.
So if you didn't catch it, Sergio actually wrote a blog post about this on our blog, which is nintendojump.blogspot.com. Please check it out. It's a really, really good read. But Sergio, I mean, overall thoughts from that, like other than what you wrote, like what kind of experience was that? Have you done anything like this before, or is this just kind of a unique thing for you?
No, this was definitely a lot of firsts. It's even the first time that I've actually seriously nicknamed a Pokemon. Like before, I would always just give them their given names or
And
leave
you
the
changed
given names.
2 letters.
Yeah.
Nice.
Scorbuddy.
Yeah, but definitely the first time with just one Pokemon, not letting it evolve, just playing the game wrong in a way, but on purpose and with a purpose. And overall, I feel I always end up saying, sometimes a game goes beyond and it becomes an experience. Danny, listener, friend of mine, he always makes fun of me for saying that, but it's true. And this case was a very unique experience. I mean, it made the journey like more real, if that makes any sense. So yes, I understand I didn't play the game the right way, which is with a full team of 6 Pokemon and fully evolved and everything.
Yeah, but let's be honest, this isn't your first Pokemon game, right?
Exactly.
So,
Right.
like, you've had those experiences in the past. I don't see any problem with you trying something new for this game and actually having a better experience for it, because it's just something different.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of tells you my love for the series, that encouraged me or to go ahead and play it that way, just to change things up.
So
Yeah,
I only had one question. Like, how hard was the game at that point?
It wasn't too hard because this game makes it very easy to grind in the wild area. You could just fight a lot of Pokemon that were around your level, maybe a little bit higher. You defeat them, you get experience, you go back to heal to a Pokemon Center, and then you rinse and repeat, right?
Mhm.
So grinding was pretty easy, especially with the Dynamax max raid battles. Those give you a lot of rare candies for experience, and with
Gotcha.
that, you level up really quickly.
Yeah, and how often did you use the wild area? Like, was it just something you went back like every time, like after you beat a gym or something? Did you just go back and train? Like, how did you? I mean, because did you get to level 100 with your Pokemon? I mean, that right? Like, it's.
Yes.
I mean, that is like that must have taken quite a bit. But man, uh, like how often did you go to the wild area, and did you like it a lot?
I did like it a lot. I went about, I want to say like 3 times when I really wanted to. Okay, I need to get to this level before I try this
Mhm.
gym leader. And I kind of just made up the numbers on my own, and I kind of overshot on purpose, and it worked out pretty much perfectly. So 3 times and did a lot of grinding each time, especially towards the end. But yeah, I mean, the wild area is brand new to Pokemon. It's like when the developers kind of liked it akin to 2 areas of Breath of the Wild in terms of the scale. So it's something like that, and it's open world meets Pokemon for the first time. And overall, I think it was pretty well done actually for open world. It's not humongous, but it's good for a first try.
Yeah, I can see that. I wouldn't at all compare it to Breath of the Wild. That's a little unfair, to be honest.
Mhm.
But it was cool to see. So I was kind of the newbie in the series. I've played one before, which is Sapphire. Um,
Nice.
so
That's a good one.
I just kind of came in and played Pokemon, right? Like I just kind of picked the team I want, did a little bit of research on types and good strategies and such, and put a team together. I was pretty proud of. It was okay. Um, and then just kind of went through and murdered murdered the game with them. Like it was sad, and I actually didn't do that much grinding. Like I did a little bit just so they would learn certain things or whatever, but maybe an hour total, maybe.
Hmm.
So yeah, odd difficulty curve in this game, but that was pretty much my experience. Was just I just played the game. What about you, Kevin?
Oh, before I get to me, what was your favorite like Pokemon in the game? Like, was there one that you lean more towards using a lot more of the time, even though you had like a team of six? Like, what was your go-to?
I wound up on two that I really liked,
Okay.
which was Surfetched, actually,
Yes.
Nice.
which I had to have a Surfetched. That's actually why I ended up getting the sword version of the game right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was gonna be a constant in my party. And then I landed on Toxtricity, which is the poison electric type Pokemon that plays
Yes.
guitar on his chest gill things. I don't know. Um,
Yeah. Too good.
so yeah, those two were probably my favorite.
Nice.
Nice, good stuff. Yeah, I love Toxtricity too. He was definitely in my main six. For me, I had a good time with this game. And I mentioned before with the controversy, like I hinted that there was controversies with this game leading up to it, with the graphics, the national decks. But despite all of that stuff, I still like playing it. I enjoyed having a team of six. You know, I yeah, in the very beginning, I was struggling to figure out who are gonna be my six because I would keep switching back and forth, like different Pokemon that because I did not play Gen 6, and I kind of played Gen 7 because, my feelings about Moon. We already talked about that before. I don't want to get into it. So I didn't, I wasn't as knowledgeable about the Gen 7 Pokemon. And so when I did see some from Gen 6 and Gen 7, I'm like, oh, wow, like this is pretty neat. But I was, you know what, going to be all Gen 8 Pokemon for my Team 6,
Nice.
and that's how I'm going to go. And I really, saw the squad. I really enjoyed, you know, playing with my companion, and cooking curry for him and like the other Pokemon, which is one of my favorite parts about the game. Even though it's even though it's not like the most important part of the game, it's still pretty fun. But I really do like, you know, the journey was cool. I do like how it was really atmospheric when you go into the gyms and you do the Dynamaxing and all that, and then I always thought maybe I should Dynamax in the very first like Pokemon like when you fight and but you want to Dynamax in the very end, right? When it's like 1-on-1, like when the gym leader has
Right.
one last
Well, I
Pokemon.
mean, there's a strategy to it, and there's a
Yeah,
bunch of different ways you can take it.
that's true.
We'll get into that because I do want to dive into the battle system of this game, real hard because
Okay, there we go. Yeah,
that's where my problems probably start.
yeah, fair enough. And I want to talk about this later, but I really enjoyed the music from the rivals. I thought that was my favorite part about this game. I'll just say that now. Get into it later. Let's get into the battle system. So, as Daryl mentioned, you have a lot to say about the battle system. So, where do you want to start?
Where do I want to start? Okay, so I went about 75% of the way through this game. I got mad at it, like legitimately mad at it, and it wasn't because I lost or anything. It was just like I'm like angry that I'm wasting my time playing this game, and that's a little harsher than I wanted to put it, but deal with it. So, and it centered on a lot of things, but it basically just centered on this overall concept of Pokemon is the largest media franchise in the world, period. Like, this is the thing that has the most money in the world. Why is this game not better than it is? And that was a concept that got stuck in my mind, and I could not get it out at all. And I'm going to preface all of my comments going forward with saying, this is a great game for kids. Fantastic game for kids. I completely get the appeal. You'll hear about that a little bit later. And I was kind of debating as I was preparing for this episode, how hard am I going to be on the game? Because, it is a great game for kids, I think. I think it's good. Really good. However, Pokemon is not marketed or bought or played by only kids. We are not listened to by only kids. So I feel the need to judge it in terms of what it is as an actual game. To our audience, to myself, to adults. People who are playing this, because at one point I looked at my friends list and there were like 30 people playing this game, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, guys, go play Dragon Quest. It is so much better. But and that's where I got stuck because, like, and I'll get to other reasons for this, but let's talk about the battle system. Okay, so this game kind of wants to be a JRPG type game. Right? It's a turn-based battle system that's based on, it's no longer based on random encounters, but it's based on, like, you walk around an overworld, you touch an enemy, it goes to the battle screen, you have a battle, and then you move on. Or you get approached by a trainer, have a battle with multiple Pokemon, and move on. But let's look at this in comparison to other RPGs, which I understand is a little unfair, because this is meant to be a simple one, but other RPGs, you have a party of 3 or 4 people. They all have tons of different attacks that they can use. Pokemon, it's 1-on-1, you have 4 attacks. Okay. You can swap out your Pokemon, but it takes a turn, so it's like, it's actually kind of there's a strategy there, but it's also just kind of like a, swap to win type thing for the entire main game. And I'm not talking about the competitive scene so much, but for the entire main game, you can literally just, oh, I'm at a disadvantage. Okay, swap Pokemon to an advantage. Okay, now I'm gonna murder them, and you can do that just through the whole game. And that gets me to my other point. So the main point of Pokemon's battle system is this concept of type advantages. There's a bunch of different types. They all have advantages and weaknesses against the other types. I'm gonna argue that it's too much, and what I mean by that is, so if you are super effective, so your type is advantageous, the type of your attack is advantageous against another Pokemon, it does twice the damage. Generally in the game, even in the competitive scene, that's enough to KO the other Pokemon. So it's literally just, is my Pokemon fast enough? Do I have the type advantage? If yes to both those things, they die. And I'm just like, well, that's too simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. And if you want to get further in, there's something called stab, which is same type attack bonus where if you're using an attack that's the same type as the
It gets
Pokemon,
even more.
yeah, to
So
boost damage by I think 20-25%. Yeah, so it's really like it's like rock paper scissors basically, but
yeah.
in a just
Yeah, the whole game is rock paper scissors, except the entire computer AI is an idiot. So because they don't
yeah.
switch, they never switch their Pokemon. So like switching is an insta win. So like you pretty much do that throughout the whole game. You win the whole time, and that's it. That's the game. There you go. There's more complexity when you get into actually competitive. I get that,
Yeah.
but that's people. To me, that's almost people trying to put competitive onto this game that doesn't really merit it. It's just because it's there. So I don't know. And to make matters worse, so this game introduced Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing, which makes it even more pronounced that a Gigantamax or a Dynamax Pokemon can like one shot everything. If it even has like a normal type advantage or some even like non-advantageous moves. If it's just a
Yeah.
regular move, sometimes it'll still one shot you, and it's just like okay. So my entire ultimate experience with Pokemon ended up, and I mentioned this in a previous episode. It ended up with a duel between me and Dragon.
Oh, I want to ask about that.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
it was a duel between me and Dragon, which by far was my favorite point of the entire game. Like I don't want to downplay this. I ended up losing it. And I ended up losing it because he made one smart move to Dynamax when I didn't expect it. One shot two of my Pokemon, and that was it. Including a Pokemon
Oh.
that had a type advantage on him. And he tanked one move. And I was just like, okay, well, all right. And this is
Yeah.
don't at all take this from me being salty because I couldn't care less that I lost that. Like I wanted to give him my legendary. That was what it was for. I wanted to. I was gonna do it either way. But that just like further illustrated the fact that oh god, this is so powerful relative to the rest of the game. And then the rest of the battle was pretty much us like switching Pokemon back and forth to try to get a type advantage. I'm just like, well, this is just kind of dumb. And that's kind of where I landed on the entire battle system, which by the way, this is an RPG, so the battle system is a huge part of it. So yeah, that's that like I said, that's kind of where my problems mostly started. Does that kind of make sense? Am I going off the rails here?
No, not you're right on the money. And just from Pokemon game to Pokemon game, the formula has barely changed. And you have stuff like Pokemon Natures gain like a bit of a boost on certain stats and or certain, you know, properties of a Pokemon like special attack or whatever. And then you start having Pokemon holding the items, but it's like an add-on. It doesn't really you know, improve the battle experience. It's like adding glitter to something, and there's
Yeah.
only so much glitter you can add when you realize, oh, well, it's the same thing. I mean, I can reference like Call of Duty basically. There's some relation where Call of Duty same formula, but they just add all these like perks and all that, and you know what I'm talking about. Perks are basically these sort of small power ups that you can power up your avatar or your
Right. Makes a
and
difference, but you won't see the difference most of the time, pretty
you
much.
won't. And so with Pokemon, they just there's a saying that goes, it's like if it ain't broke, why fix it? So they kept going with that. And I think what really gets people coming back is just, oh, it's another journey, new Pokemon. I mean, there's only so much you can do. Like there's always the appeal of having new Pokemon and like different, like types of Pokemon, like where you have like Fairy Steel, or I don't even know if that's a actual Pokemon that has those two, but or you have, Duraludon, which is a Dragon Steel type, which is probably one of my favorites. And just the appeal. And the thing is, you mentioned, Daryl, this is a game for kids, and I totally agree.
It's a great game for kids. I don't
It
want
is.
anything because everything I just mentioned, they don't care, and I get that.
Yeah, they
Like it
don't.
doesn't matter for them. They're like, hey, I got a fire Pokemon beating up some grass Pokemon. I am so awesome, and that's great. That's fantastic.
Right.
I love that they have that. I'm fine with that. It's just if I'm looking at this as an overall game, am I going to recommend this game to normal people? Not really. Unless you have like a deep-rooted nostalgia for the series or something like that. I just think there are better options, and I'll get into what they are in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, no, and your points are very valid. I think that you could have done like for me, gosh, and I don't want to reference Pokken Tournament because they sort of do this already. I wish there was some sort of like real time fighting, like because like in the anime, right? Like if you watch Pokemon anime, there's when
Which
you
Ash finally won, by the way. So
yes,
hey, hooray
he
for Ash!
won in the Alola region. Okay,
Wherever he was, he won.
wherever he was, yeah, he won.
That's what matters.
That's how much we know about the series. Yeah, so but when you look at from battle to battle, like there's certain like ways of attacking that are more nuanced when you watch the anime, and like it's hard for the developers to replicate the same thing in the actual Pokemon RPG that we play. So in my eyes, I wish they could have had those. There's certain things like, for example, okay, let's talk about when Ash fought Brock in Pewter City. Okay, I can't believe I'm remembering this. Pikachu, did a thunder shock on like the sprinklers, and then like Onyx was like covered with water, and then Pikachu.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff that you can't do in game. There you go.
Yeah. So if for some miraculous way, Game Freak can do that, I think the battle system would actually be in a much better state. But it is extremely difficult to replicate that sort of nuance fighting battle sequence techniques, like just in the actual games that we play. So I think it's a missed opportunity, and I don't know. I'm sure they thought about doing that at some point because that would have been really cool, like where you can come up with different ways to attack, and where the field changes maybe, and then like you can use an object like sprinklers, or you can. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud for this one, and like. There's a lot they could have done with the battle system, but they just chose to be safe, and that's fine. Like,
I'd love to see anything active. Take these models
Yeah.
and make them move around, even if it's like really simple.
yeah,
Like
and
and I'm talking like battle system from like Chrono Trigger simple. Like move to an area and do an attack based on where you are would be completely different and cooler. And kids would still like that.
exactly. And I think that is a missed opportunity. And if they were to make another Pokemon game, I implore them to explore this because that would be amazing. And I don't know, Sergio, what do you think of all this? Like, what is your feeling about the battle system?
I mean, I agree with everything that you guys have said for the most part. I wouldn't call it a missed opportunity, and let me explain a little bit because I would really want a hard or a advanced Pokemon game, sort of like what you're describing. And honestly, they could do it. Like there are different ways they could approach it. For example, I've always thought if there's a Pokemon that has a lot of fur, it should be easier for it to catch on fire, right?
Yeah,
Things
you
like
would
that.
think that, score buddy. I see where you're going.
Uh,
In
No,
fact,
but-
while we're at it, let's just make everything weak to fire.
mm.
Perfect game. There you go.
No, no. There are different ways they could approach it, just make it more realistic. Definitely increase the AI difficulty or make it an option. Add a hard mode. Just make it an option, make it available. But to say something like it's a missed opportunity or. Because honestly, I don't know if I want them to do that because then
Mm.
Pokemon is just gonna become another RPG, right? It's gonna be more balanced. Everything is gonna be more traditional RPG. But then, what's gonna happen to Pokemon? It's gonna be lost. It's gonna be just another RPG. Where right now, it's the simple, easy RPG that's great for kids and good for some adults.
I mean, I tend to agree with you there. That's a very fair point.
Mm.
I would like to see it a little tiny bit less simple. Just a little bit. Like a little more than I have type advantage equals I win. Right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I have type advantage plus I am in the right area and I win. Fair. That's fine. But you know what I mean? Like
Mhm. Mhm.
I think it should be just cuz I think I say this is a great kids game because it is. But kids can do complicated games too. I mean, in
Right.
many ways, they can do more complicated games than we can. I know some kids who are fantastic at Rocket League. It's just kind of the age we're in. I think people generally underestimate them, but if they enjoy it, that's great. Like if they like the game, I'm fully on board with the game being what it is. Again, I go back to the same thing. Like, this game has a few bugs in it. It has some other problems outside of it. Pokemon is the biggest franchise in the world. Why is this allowed? Like, why is this okay? And as a consumer, like, the game is fine, but you cannot argue that it has the level of polish that like Nintendo's B level titles do. So it's fine, but in my opinion, it's just not good enough. It's just not.
So you're pretty much saying that they should not deserve a pass because
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
that they've gotten one for probably, over a decade at this point. And
Hmm.
I fully get people love this series. I love that people love this series. This is probably going to be my last Pokemon game. To be fair, unless like the next one is developed by like Monolith Soft or somebody,
Oh, that would be
like,
whoa.
I'm gonna leave
that'd be
myself an
something
exit
else.
play in there because that sounds amazing. But you get what I'm saying. This is probably it for me, and I'm okay with that. But if I'm gonna talk about a game that was our game of the month that we all played, we all reviewed, I'm gonna be honest about it. So that's what I'm doing.
You know,
No,
and
no, that
yeah,
makes sense.
I appreciate it. And Sergio, I can see your viewpoint on how we should keep it simple and just inaccessible. Yeah, and I do agree with Daryl. Like, we just want just a little bit more complexity. And I think that in some perspective, they did try to make it a bit more complex with adding stuff like, making the whole field rain or be super sunny and hailing and things like that. And there's like stuff like
Which
trick,
only does things to increase the power of the moves.
right? And there's
Like,
trick room. Well,
yeah,
okay,
it's really cool. I agree with you, but
yeah. Now there's a couple of things that are different, like trick room where the slowest Pokemon go first, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not all teams are gonna do that. I mean, it is a viable strategy and competitive, Pokemon gaming. But I
Mhm.
mean, again, that gets into competitive Pokemon gaming, which you usually don't get to until you finish the game. So, or you beat the main story. So, yeah, it's hard.
No,
Yeah.
and you know what? Okay, so I agree. It would be nice to have all of that, but here's the thing. If they take the time to really refine things and change it, and of course it's gonna be for the better, right? But it's gonna take time.
Right.
And you could think of it like, do you want a new Pokemon game and a remake within a 3 year span, or just a brand new game within a 3 or 4 year span? And most Pokemon fans are gonna want the biggest amount of Pokemon games they can get.
yeah, because they're
Mhm.
sick. No,
Oh my gosh.
uh, no, I kid. Uh,
Yeah.
I can tell you that Nintendo and Pokemon companies certainly want to release one every year.
Right,
With as well as
right.
they
Mm.
do, like, I don't blame them too much for this. But like the conversation kind of went around our Discord a little bit, and people kind of landed on, wouldn't it be cool if there was like regular Pokemon and advanced Pokemon games
Yes,
coming out?
yes,
Right.
yes.
That would
And
be great.
I would be completely on board with that. Like, maybe bump up the difficulty of Let's Go a little bit, make that like the quote unquote normal Pokemon game. So throw in some battles and stuff, so they actually have a more traditional experience than Let's Go did. And so make it more like Sword and Shield, but then also throw like this, additional layer, whatever that actually is, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
mean, yeah, I would agree. And well, speaking of like games coming down the pipeline for Pokemon, I'm assuming they're gonna have a third version. So I don't know.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And everybody refers to it as Pokemon Gun, which just sounds like completely bad.
I thought it was gonna be Spear.
Yeah,
'Cause it-
I would kind of go
Oh.
Lance or Spear there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't. I'll wait and see if I want to get that, but
No.
I can't even. But I think, yeah, it's tough because like I have mixed feelings about the battle system, and
Well, I mean, we can kind of get out of this, I should say, and
Yeah.
get into some of the cooler stuff about the game. So,
Yeah. Let's
if
do
you
that.
guys are good, let's talk about the story a little bit, and we are not going to spoil anything. Were you satisfied with the story that you played out? Sergio, I get the feeling you were.
That's a tough one. I guess I'm gonna go with yes because I wasn't expecting story based on recent Pokemon games. So the little that was there or what was here, it surprised me. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a plus on the story.
I'm gonna say no. I am not satisfied with the story. I was trying to say it with a straight face. No, I'm not satisfied. And I mean, maybe it's just because I have higher expectations for, the first Pokemon game in the console. Like, I mean, they tried with the team. Well, okay, we're not gonna spoil it, right? They tried.
I mean, if you're gonna
things,
say Team Yell, I mean that's
is that okay, right? I can do that.
yeah, everybody knows
They
about them, so
okay,
no big deal.
So they tried with Team Yell, and I kind of see what they were trying to do, trying to interweave that into the story. It was okay, but there were just times where when you're trying to, if you there's certain like area restriction, right? You can't go to a certain area because Team Yell is blocking your way, and they have like a crappy reason why you can't go. And
Yeah, and this is after you've trashed like half a dozen of them. You're like, just let me fight them. I can
yeah,
pass, I promise.
but you can't because then they keep yelling at you. And I got to tell you right now, Team Yell, the way they implemented it was all talk and no walk. I just thought it was just another thing that just was glitter to the game. Now, granted, I didn't like the way they look. I thought they were very rock star punk. It was pretty awesome in that aspect, but that was it. Like, didn't have any like malicious intent.
And legitimately, I did like Marnie. So
Yes.
the other trainer that they were kind of tied to, I'm not going to go into why. But I liked her as a character quite a bit. So she helped my opinion of them, if that makes sense.
She's definitely pretty cool. Yeah.
And overall, I would say I really like all of the main characters. Like all of them were great. In the world itself was great. The areas, the atmosphere, the
Mm-hmm.
music,
Oh.
the culture of the Galar region, everything except the levels themselves because they were very linear.
Yeah.
There weren't
Mm-hmm.
any side quests really. There weren't any optional areas to explore with different traps here and there or puzzles or different things for you to do while you're playing the main quest. It was very, very linear, very, very boring in a way.
Yeah, and it sucked because like I was hoping maybe I could use the bike because they don't have surf anymore. You can upgrade your bike to be able to go across the
Yeah.
water,
Yeah.
and I was hoping maybe instead of just getting some items or TRs, I mean those were cool, I guess, but I was hoping maybe they could like what Sir said, like a side quest or some sort of dungeon that you can go into and catch a
Hmm.
Pokemon that from I don't know Gen 6 or like a legendary Pokemon, like
Yeah,
something that
yeah.
would just make me want to use my Master Ball, because I mean, just something that would be like just wow, like, and then like maybe some sort of like backstory that you may not be able to hear about unless you did that side quest. Like it just yeah, like Sergio said, it was too linear.
Yeah, because they
Ugh.
actually had a lot of lore in the game, and I thought that all that stuff was actually really cool, especially
It
Yeah.
was
the new stuff for the Galar region. I loved the kind of the United Kingdom references in it, and such. I
hmm
really did like the setting. So hey, I
yeah.
said something good about the game. Uh,
The setting is
I
great. Yeah.
I agree with you, Serge. I liked the characters a lot.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of them. I really liked the overall build up as you have a defined goal, which is to go through all these gems and then become the league champion. Leads to a really cool payoff right then.
hmm
Really liked the end part of the game before the post game, which is kind of terrible. Uh,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
but I like legitimately liked all that. The only part of the character relations I did not like, and this is probably a little controversial, I really did not like. It actually like made me feel bad. The interaction, the relationship between Hop and the main character, uh,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
the main character and Hop, as it were. So And part of this is because it's actually happened to me in real life. And I'll get into that. So immediately you and Hop start off to be challengers doing the gym challenge. And Hop basically tells you, "Hey, I'm going to win this thing." and you're my rival. I'm going to win this thing. Let's battle, and you wipe the floor with him. And then a couple times later he's like, "Hey, I've been training. Let's battle." And you wipe the floor with him. And a couple gyms later, and every time you do, he gets visibly upset, like mad at you for beating him. And then he's like, "Oh, it's whatever. That's why you're my rival. Ha ha ha. You get what I'm saying?" So
Great. Yeah.
I've had this relationship in real life, literally over Super Smash Brothers, where somebody set themselves up to be my rival. And I kept beating them, and over time, that friendship actually died because of that relationship in it, because it turned into kind of an enemy ship over a freaking stupid video game, and that was it. So in our Discord, I've talked about being a little self-conscious about Smash. That's why. That's it right there. And to watch it play out over the course of this game, it does not end up that bad. But the entire game, every time Hop showed up, I'm like, "Oh no. Oh honey, stop. Just stop, man." Like this is a dark path. And even at the end, like I almost felt bad for the kid, and it's just they were trying to humanize the rival. I think they did a pretty good job on it because, again, I've had that relationship.
Yeah.
But oof, that hurt. And all of it, I hated all of it. I really did.
I don't blame you. And even though the rival music for Hop is really, really good, it did not fit at all. I didn't like it.
No, it didn't.
No. I mean, if you just take the music by itself, like I would, honestly,
It's a good song, though.
it's
It
a
is.
good song. And I want to give a shout out to someone that you may or may not know. There's a YouTuber called Lazy Toadal, and he or she did these piano covers of Hop's battle theme, Hop's final battle theme, and recently BB's battle theme, and they're so freaking good. Like I would listen to it on repeat, like in the background. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
all three of the rivals have great themes. So
Yeah.
Hop and BD and Marnie.
Marnie. Yes, they're very good.
Marnie's
And-
probably my favorite, actually.
nice.
But honestly, the music in this game is really good
Yes.
overall.
Yeah, I think, and I didn't expect the music to be this good. Even like when you go into like an apparel shop and you want to switch up your look, it's like, oh wow, like I'm kind of like dancing with my hips now. I don't know, like why am I doing this? Playing this game, and and I wanted to get that leather jacket. I want to get those shoes. Like I want to look. I want to be packing heat in the way I look, and then update my league card. Even though it doesn't really matter, but I want to look good. Like I was like, okay, this is, I like this kind of glitter. It's pretty nice. and I do like that part to a certain extent. But yeah, I mean, with going back with the rivalry, I just miss the days where you hear "smell you later." Like I just want to hear that. Like that is
Well, it set your rival up to be an enemy that you want to beat and overcome and such. That to
Yeah.
me, I get what they're going for with the friendship relationship, but if they keep doing that and you keep just beating the crap out of this poor kid, who's the bad guy, right?
Yeah,
Like, who's the villain here? I'm the villain. Oh no. Like I'm literally every step of the way stopping this kid from achieving his dream. Uh-oh.
And what is that teaching kids? Like oh hey,
You want to be the best no matter what. There you go.
yeah, but
If
it's
he can't step up to your level, he just needs to learn better.
But it's interesting that you mentioned that this applies to your real life with your friend from Super Smash. Like I can imagine like a lot of kids, maybe having that sort of similar thing. And when Pokemon, has this sort of relationship, like build, in Hop and the main character, I mean, is this like a viable thing to have? Like it should have been a lot different. Like, okay, Daryl, what would you want Hop to do? Like, what would have been the better rivalry? What would you think?
I probably would have enjoyed the game more if he just wasn't there, to be honest. I mean that, like,
Fair enough.
literally no rival. Just set up the final gym leader, Leon, as your rival, and you don't face him for the entire game until the end. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That would be pretty dope. Yeah.
That's just me. either that or make the rival actually like maybe have some like story-driven battles that he wins, you know?
Yeah, because it's not all about winning against Robert every time. Like you gotta have some adversity. I
Yeah,
mean,
like write the story that, you really are rivals. Like sometimes he wins, sometimes you win, no matter how good you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So and they could have done that pretty easily. Like all of a sudden his Pokemon one-shots you at the end and he pulls off this massive victory and he celebrates and, then you kind of feel bad a little bit. You're like, okay, I'll get you next time. I don't know.
right. Well, Sergio, what do you think of the relationships between the main character and the rivals, especially Hop? Like, what's your gut take on that?
Yeah, I agree. And lately they have been sort of repeating. They have been with the nice rival type of approach instead of like the really mean rival that it's pretty much out to get you, even though you always beat them anyway. But at least that was a little bit different. I kind of wish they went back with that. Or honestly, I'm with Daryl. I would want to see something without a rival, or maybe
Right.
he is part of the story, but you never really fight him, and he's doing his thing, doing the same quest that you're doing, but on the side, and you kind of just touch base here and there to see how each of you is doing. But I wanted to discuss something else that it's a big part of Pokemon game, and I completely agree with everything we have said about the battle system, and it's definitely far from perfect. Far from perfect, I know it, but an equally big appeal of Pokemon is the Pokemon themselves and
Yeah.
Right.
the quest of catching them all. And
Yeah.
there's over 850 something Pokemon,
Not
even
in
though
this game, Serge.
Yeah. Oh, National
Yeah.
Dex. Hashtag
there's only
that.
400 here, but that's still a lot. That's almost
Which,
half.
by the way, none of my comments are even going into that because, again, I haven't really played Pokemon before. I don't have stored Pokemon. I don't care. I really don't. Like
Yeah.
the entire time there was this controversy, I didn't think it, whatever. The only controversy there was that, their reasoning for that was, okay, we're going to make the game look and play better because we don't have to do all these Pokemon. And then that didn't really pan out as well as people
No.
hoped, I think. So that was a valid point. I don't want to completely invalidate it, but for me personally, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I thought the balance of the game would be better with fewer Pokemon. So there you go.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
I think the expectation of having all the Pokemon in that Sword and Shield is just unrealistic. I mean, do you realize like how many there's a lot to put in. I mean, for those people
Yeah,
who
at
are
some point they
expecting-
had to break this. At some
Yeah.
point, otherwise, new games are releasing with 5,000 Pokemon in it. There you go.
Yeah, like for people who think that the National Dex is the worst thing about this game, you gotta revisit your opinion because you should focus more on the other stuff. Like Daryl mentioned the battle system. And yes, I granted I do empathize with people who do want like all of the Pokemon to appear. Gotta be more realistic. There's only so much you can put in the Pokemon game, so there's gotta be sacrifices. So
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's gonna take time and a bunch of games and generations to get to that level again if
right.
they decide to do that. But what I wanted to ask is specifically you, Daryl, since like you mentioned you hadn't played a Pokemon game in a while. Did the appeal of catching them all, like how many did you catch? Was that appealing at all? Were the Pokemon themselves part of the appeal for you in this game?
So, I'll answer the first question. I caught 75 of them.
Mm.
I mostly caught the ones I came across and did not go back to grind the areas for the ones I didn't come across.
Okay.
And but that's not really a slight on Pokemon. I'm not a huge completionist in games like this, especially if it literally doesn't make a difference. Because every Pokemon I catch after the 6 is just going to go in a box anyway, so who cares?
Right.
Right, so that's a check mark I didn't really feel the need to get. But that's not sliding the game. You're right on this, though, because the Pokemon themselves, I think, are the primary draw for this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they do play that up, even with just like the the random animations, even out in the open world, or their battle animations, or their personalities and such. I think they come out, and I do, and there were times playing the game I was like, oh, that's cute, and
Nice. Yeah.
I think that's a large part of why a lot of people eat this up is because it's cute. It is.
Mhm.
And I can't really argue that.
Yeah, I always found that the when you see new Pokemon like Dreadnought. I mean, come on, Dreadnought's so cool. Like, gotta have him on the team, man.
Yeah, I had him on my team.
Yeah, same. Too good. And yeah, and like the way they presented it, even in trailers before, or when they showed sneak peeks and stuff, like that fist bump with the main player and Score Bunny, like that's priceless. I mean, it's like, okay, gotta get this game. Oh, marketing got us. No, but I mean, but those little things, I mean, they're nice touches. And yeah, like there's just something about just the new Pokemon, and you just want to be able to discover and see what's out there, and um, you know, like I really do like Corviknight. I like the Flying Steel thing.
Had him on my
and-
team too.
Oh, nice. Me too, man. Pretty similar teams. Man, and I didn't. So, I did not know what the grass Pokemon or Grookey. I didn't know what his final evolution looked like. So when I
It's so
fought,
good.
yeah, when I fought Leon, I was like, wow, man, this looks way better than Inteleon.
It's so.
Man.
I was so happy with that.
I was like, oh gosh, like, 'cause Inteleon's just a skinny chameleon guy.
Well, I was
It's
going
like-
on this weird band Pokemon thing where like Grookey's final evolution was the drummer and Toxtricity was the guitarist and Obstagoon was gonna be like the lead singer. So and then I kind of scrapped that because I thought it was silly, but
Yeah. That would have been cool, but yeah, I mean, and then there's let's see what else. There's in the Dragon Pokemon too. Well, here's the thing. Like Dragon Pokemon, I mean, they're usually you catch them in the later and the end of the game. I want to give a shout out to Dragon, one of our best friends in the Discord community. He did me a favor because I wanted Duraludon, the Dragon Steel Pokemon, because I thought it was really cool, and he actually breeded one for me. So thank you, Dragon. I really enjoy using Duraludon, because otherwise I had to like get him towards the very end of the game, or it would be a rare catch. And I was like, I just want that Pokemon. Yeah, and I just had this period where I just kept switching back and forth, Pokemon stuff. And I was just being wishy-washy about it. But anyway, it's still fun to like check out these Pokemon. I mean, this is such a big appeal. So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
In for you too, Kevin, are you catching them all, or you're just basically like once you have your team, how much do you care about catching the rest?
I caught 79, or I've 79, and I've seen quite a number of Pokemon. And I did. I don't know if I'm gonna be a completionist about this. I do like the surprise trade though. I think that was one of my favorite parts because you never know what you're gonna get.
I always got trash from that. I tried it a few times and
Oh.
got nothing. I was like,
No, that's unfortunate. There was one. I got lucky with the Charmander, level 1, and then there was this, Haten. How you say it? Haten, the second Pokemon. I thought it was pretty cool, so I added her to my team, and the final evolution, Psychic Fairy. Pretty cool. I surprise trade. It worked well for me, fortunately. So it was nice to get certain Pokemon that I would not have gotten if I played through the game. So yeah, I think the appeal of the new Pokemon definitely was a big plus. So yeah.
And what about you, Sergio? Did you enjoy catching your one Pokemon?
Yeah, you're one Pokemon.
Well, that was part of a different appeal, but now that we're actually going back and catching them all, and not just the new ones, but all of them. I mean, like you said, there's really no purpose, but it's part of the appeal to me and to a lot of people. So I know that the game has its quirks, and there's a lot of them, and especially in this game compared to previous Pokemon generations. But that's always there. The
Right.
quest of catching them all and the communication that you have to engage with other people to trade or to help you with evolving your Pokemon. It's always there, and it's part of the experience.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
It's just one of those things. Like especially when you watch the Pokemon anime, like back in the day, it's like wow, like at a time when we're not looking up on the internet, like what are all the Pokemon, like the appeal of like seeing new Pokemon, catching them all, like it's even part of the theme. Gotta catch them all. Like it's embedded into this game series since day one. So
Yeah, for sure. And in this game you literally can't. So there you go. Um,
Oh my God.
it's funny.
What a bummer.
It's funny. So I do want to touch on one more thing, and then we'll move into some actual reviews from our listeners. So
Sure.
thank you to everybody for sending that in. A little bit more on presentation of the game. So I don't know what it was. I've never been like this as a gamer. But the opening cutscene starts out, and you've got thousands of fans cheering in the stadium, right? And Chairman Rose walks out and starts talking, and no voice comes out. And it honestly shocked me. And I don't know why. I kind of expected it going in, but like it just like that moment to me should have been voiced. It should have. And certain cutscenes in the game I think should have been voiced. Again, my entire stance on this game is this a game for kids. It's a game now for kids who can read, which very much limits its range, right? So
Yeah.
the entire time I was playing, like, maybe not everything, right? But I think certain things should have been voiced, and it just was really jarring to me. Did you guys feel that at all, or was this just kind of a, expected?
I'm honestly not surprised that they did this, but they should have, just because, like, I mean, because like even in previous Pokemon games, like even in the 3DS and like in Game Boy SP, like just missed opportunities to have some sort of voicing. I mean, it's not like they can't do it. I mean, they can. Like other games are doing it. Like how come they don't have it's like literally a design decision. Like they just decided.
Yeah, it's
how
the
we're gonna
same.
go.
It's the same thing I was saying. Like, why this is the biggest media franchise in the world that, by the way, has a very good cartoon hook to it with voice acting and such.
Right.
Come on, spend the extra money, the extra time, just a little bit, and get things voiced and call it a day. But just not the case.
No, but then that means another year of waiting for the next Pokemon game.
Yeah, because they got to re-record all those lines
Yeah, and
over and
And I
over
think-
and over.
it's tough because you have a lot of Pokemon fans out there who they just have high expectations. They want a Pokemon game as soon as possible. They don't have a lot of them do not have the empathy to wait that long, and so, which is totally fair because I mean, for something like Pokemon, like they gotta come out in just iterations like every couple years or so. So it's hard, and like it's hard to please everybody, right? In the end, like there's gonna be people who are gonna be mad and upset about the Pokemon series, and they're
No
gonna talk
matter
about
which
it.
way it goes, yeah.
You're right.
We
Yeah,
live in the
so-
internet age where people are upset about everything all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and no matter how unreasonable it is, like they're just gonna be upset. So, that's tough, bleep. But,
Okay. So I think at this point, let's go ahead and move over to some community reviews. Then we can talk about our final impressions, scoring, and all that, and then move on from there. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's. We got one voice submission and a few written ones. Let's start with a voice submission from our good friend Shy Guy.
Hello, it's Shy Guy here to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I perhaps have a perspective to offer that's not too common in the community. I've had zero experience with this series, and that's pretty obvious if you look at the questions I ask in the Discord channel. My daughter wanted to play the game, so I bought a copy for each of us, and we sit down on the couch and play together, and we have an absolutely fantastic time. She loves the universe. She loves capturing the different Pokemon. She loves when they evolve and level up, and when she wins a gym battle, she is absolutely thrilled, and I just love experiencing it with her. I don't really care about a lot of these things people are upset about, models and textures and frame rates and Pokedexes, and because my daughter doesn't care about these things. So kind of a fresh perspective if you're a parent and just want a game to enjoy with a young child. It's an absolutely fantastic game that I recommend. I'm not trying to invalidate anyone's feelings. I feel the complaints about the game are valid from an adult's perspective, and I think the Game Freak should do a better job of realizing their once young audience has grown up and they really could polish and invest a lot more into these games. But what's nice about having a young one, they don't care about any of these things. I don't care about any of these things, and we're having an absolutely fantastic time. And from that perspective, I highly recommend the game.
Okay, so that right there, that is the correct perspective on this game.
Yes.
By the way,
Totally
Shy Guy,
agree.
stop invalidating my feelings. Don't do it. But no, everything else he said is completely true. You've got a kid who might like this game. They will like this game. Get it for them.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
100% recommend it for every situation like that. So please don't take anything that I've spent the last hour talking about as a knock on that. If you have a kid, they will probably really dig Pokemon. So there you go.
Very good.
And wouldn't life be better if we were all kids at heart and just enjoyed everything for what it is?
No.
Oh boy.
I tried.
Yeah, no, that was a good effort.
It's too positive for this podcast.
No, man. It just takes me back to the episode where I just went on a rampage about Pokemon. I did.
It's not
Not.
made for you, Kevin.
It's not made for me, and I would not take anything I said back. Nothing. So, anyway.
All right. So, Sergio, you want to read one of the reviews?
Yes, let me start with Dragon, but we're gonna streamline it a little bit.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. He's got an essay for days, which is great. Appreciate it, Dragon. But we're going to try to nail the sweet spot parts. Yeah.
So, bottom line, he says that Pokemon is a very bittersweet series for him. It's a series that has a lot of heart, but a questionable amount of substance beyond the core foundations. He says the very moment he became champion is going to be very memorable to him, which is great. But while the mood, setting, and characters were high points for him, there were a lot of low points. The exploration was very lacking. There were only a couple of deviations, if any, on the stages, and nothing was hidden. No optional dungeons or anything from previous games was absent here. He thinks that the wild area ended up being optional, more like a beta area, which is a good way of putting it. And he says that
Yeah.
though there's plenty to love for series fans, the overall quality feels like a step down in many aspects to Sun and Moon or previous games. What's done well, it's excellently done, but unfortunately, everything else feels like it took a significant hit because of it. So he says that ultimately, Pokemon Sword and Shield ended up as games that he cannot really recommend to series newcomers, and only the most ardent of Pokemon fans may end up finding the joy in the more subtle improvements the way he did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
and- yeah,
he
it's-
ends up giving a 7.2 out of 10 on that.
I think that's fair. I mean, especially for him, he's a veteran Pokemon, gamer, and so it's. I mean, he started with Pokemon being a very bittersweet series, very relatable. Dragon, I see you, and so yeah, and I do agree with a lot of the points he made, especially with how like the little subtle improvements, like the whole atmosphere and being in like the gym challenge, and I do like one part where you're in a uniform and like they show you in the tunnel and
Yeah, it's epic. It's well done.
it is. And for me, I don't run. I never run. You walk.
Nice.
Walk in the tunnel, getting ready, and then boom, the lights are shining. You're ready to go. But I did wish that I could wear different uniforms because I do like the water one, and
Yeah, I was a little surprised you
was-
couldn't actually.
Yeah.
and I was like, dang it, -1. Like yeah, come on, guys.
All right, Kevin, you want the next review? Just pick your favorite.
Yeah, I'll pick my favorite. Well, I'm gonna go with Chewy. He said, "I am taking Sword and Shield very slowly. Since it has come out, I've gotten only 3 badges. That said, I have clocked 20 hours on the game. I found that I really enjoy the wild area. For some reason, I have a need to scour every corner of that area whenever I enter. I want to find every secret and catch every Pokemon. I had 11 hours on my game before getting my first badge, simply because of all the time I spent in the WoW area. It's not the best looking game, best running game, or even the best RPG, but I think they found something special with the wild area. Any Pokemon game that makes me excited about each area and catching them all is doing what I personally love to get out of a new Pokemon game. And that's a very interesting perspective because we weren't really too high on the wild area, but he
Right.
is.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm like, okay, and I guess there's something to be said about, you go into the wild area and you fight that level 29 Onyx, even though you're like level 10 or 11, you try to beat it, and it's a nice feeling for sure. Or just exploring other parts of the wild area and you find items and these little things that come out of the ground that you can do raids and stuff. I mean, yeah, it is definitely very it's a nice subtle improvement, for sure.
All right. I'm not going to read a review because, frankly, I don't want to. You guys don't want to hear me read one. So, Sergio, you want to take the next one?
Sure, we have a comment by Phoenix, and they say, I was hoping to provide my feedback on Pokemon after I finished the main game, but I have fallen short. I'm okay with that because I'm really trying not to rush through it, especially since I heard many completed the game in about 20 hours. I am enjoying the new Pokemon game, and the wild area is my favorite aspect of the game for sure. But cooking curry is fun too. I haven't played a lot of Pokemon before, but I enjoy it. I first got to play it with my older son. Now my younger son is on board too. They are both hoping to get Sword for Christmas, which is why I went with Shield. I think in short, I'm not completely wowed by the game, but it's an enjoyable experience, and I look forward to raiding with members of the community and playing with my sons after the holidays. 6.5 out of 10, and Scorbunny, Rabbit, and Cinderace is my new favorite for sure.
Oh, get that
Nice.
out of there. Oh,
Yeah,
you score bunnies.
well, I gotta be honest, Cinderace is a really cool name for a Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Hey, to be clear on something I said, the only reason I don't want to read reviews is because my voice. Not because of any thoughts about the game. I realize that kind of came off bad.
No, it's all
Kevin,
good.
we have one more review from Rube. Actually, you want to read that one?
Rube says, I thought the game was okay. The story was very simple, and the game was very easy overall. The easiest game in the series so far. I didn't like that you couldn't turn off the EXP share. Some of the textures were very GameCube-like, and I expected more from the Switch game. On the plus side, most of the Pokemon were very well designed. I couldn't stand the fossil Pokemon though, and Team Yell were the worst bad guy team so far. If you can even call them bad guys. Either way, they were very uninspired. 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, I gotta say, it is very interesting that they chose not to turn off the EXP share. See what they did, but at the same time, it's like they want to keep all the they wanted to keep all the Pokemon that you have as even level as possible. But I do wish they could have gone with the original, where you get experience for the Pokemon that are involved in every battle one after another. So
I actually kind of liked the EXP share, so I didn't have to switch out Pokemon 4 times every battle.
yeah,
Because
Right.
that's what we would have done otherwise, right? So I
it is.
I didn't view that as a problem at all, but whatever.
And one more thing too, I don't know how much grinding he did, but if he did a lot of grinding and he said the game was very easy, well then that's on him.
Well, I
I-
did
I-
not do a lot of grinding, and the game was very easy.
Oh, okay. Well then there you go.
That's just the game's just is pretty easy. I mean,
Yeah.
It is pretty easy. Yeah.
So overall, I was a little surprised by how low these scores were. After a lot of people have been talking about the game and playing the game and seemingly enjoying the game, this struck me as a little odd. And not that you guys aren't wrong, you've heard me agreeing with you this entire episode. But it was just a little surprising for me. Was it a little surprising for you guys?
Well, based on the rating I'm about to give. No, I don't think it's surprising. I mean, I think, Dragon gave a 7.2, Phoenix 6.5, Rube 5.5. I mean, that's kind of what I was expecting from
Okay.
our listeners.
Yeah, fair enough. It struck me as a little low, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So let's get into our final thoughts and ratings. I'm going to go first because I'm going to stop being a downer on this show.
No.
Overall.
Keep doing It's all good.
No, overall, I kind of said what I meant. I think Pokemon games need to be better than this. I think that the battle system is fairly too simple, too overpowered, too broken. I think that the overall presentation of the game is very like GameCube, PS2 era. And we're just past that, in my opinion. And I think we should be past that. All that said, the music is good. I liked the story. I enjoyed my time with the game. Like, don't take anything I'm saying as not. Overall, I enjoyed the game. I like the Pokemon. I liked what they put into it. It was a good upgrade from Sapphire in terms of, presentation quality and such. So overall, I think it was an okay game. And if I'm going to say it was an okay game, then I'm going to give it a 6.5. And I feel like that's a low score. It's really not. I think this game definitely has good points, very good points. I think it is like the best game for small kids. Like, period. I think it's great for them. So, it's a complicated game for me. It's one that I didn't completely not enjoy, despite, what you might have heard me say. But, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's my thought.
Very fair. And 6.5, yeah. I can definitely see how you give it 6.5. So, cool. Sergio, your thoughts, your rating?
Oh, man. Well, honestly, I'm surprised I was able to distance myself from my love of Pokemon and be objective and
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Give it a 9.5. You know you want to.
For a score, buddy. Oh, no, score, buddy.
No, but I mean, as the game went on, I realized more of the issues that the game has. As a game first of all, and then as a Pokemon game on top of that. So, as much as it hurts me, I'm torn between a 6.5 and a 7. I'm gonna go with a 7 because it's Pokemon and I love it.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
But it's one of those, and
You're right. I did not expect that.
and that's as a game overall, but also as a Pokemon game. There were a lot of things lacking from previous games, and I understand for crazy people like me that want a Pokemon game every year, they gotta make sacrifices, but maybe there's gotta be a happy medium somewhere.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, Kevin.
Yeah, 7's a fair score. 6 out of 10. I'm going to say it off the bat. 6 out of 10 for me.
Wait, I wasn't the lowest? Really? So I'm a bigger Pokemon fan than Kevin confirmed.
you know my history with
Holy crap.
this series. Yeah, I did not want to give it a higher score than 6. 6 out of 10 for me. You can say you're a bigger Pokemon fan than me if you want, but
Pokemon
I would,
Sword Game of the Year edition. There we go.
Oh, okay. I like the music. I like the gym atmosphere. I like walking into the tunnel, not running, walking. Walking's great, and I do like being able to customize the way I look with the pants and the bag and the shade sometimes if I wanted to, or the hair. I switch between different hairs where I couldn't wear a cap, which kind of irritated me, but so I went with the short hair again, and it's the whole theme of the Galar region is cool, but the battle system fell flat for me a bit, and it's just felt like a 6.
I'm utterly shocked. I really am.
But I do like the curry. I do like cooking curry, and the one thing that they did well though was that I don't have to feel like I have to do the curry cooking every 5 seconds.
I figured I would put it like at least an 8 out of 10 for you, man.
I really did. did.
No. I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna ask you a question a little bit on the spot. I apologize for this. I can go first. We all rated this, in the realm of okay/good. What games would you recommend to people kind of in our position over this game? I'll give a few examples.
Okay.
If you're looking for RPG, Octopath Traveler, Dragon Quest XI's, Ni no Kuni, or any of the Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy games, just immediately come off the top of my head. I would also probably throw Xenoblade in there. If you're looking for a game with cuteness, if that is more kind of your boat, Luigi's Mansion 3, Yoshi's Crafted World come to mind.
Nice. And I would agree with Ni no Kuni. Now, short backstory. when I heard about the game a while back, I was destined to get the game. I love the fact that it was one of those RPGs where you have real time combat with these monsters that you have at your disposal. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if Pokemon can do this?
It's kind of like what I said I wanted for Pokemon.
Yeah. And Ni no Kuni, I mean, if you haven't played Ni no Kuni and you're an RPG kind of person, you should play it. If you don't play it, you are doing yourself a disservice. And I'd say that with like the most pride that I've ever had in an RPG that I've never had before in my life. And I think when I played Ni no Kuni on the PS3, it was probably besides the Uncharted series, probably my favorite game on that system. Just really well done. I even made sure that I tried to embrace the story and just the graphics are great too. It has that sort of Studio Ghibli type of spiel.
All right. We gotta move on, man.
Okay.
Definitely recommend Ni no Kuni, but what else?
Okay. I would also recommend. Octopath Traveler is a good choice. I gotta say, Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah.
No, it's an old game, and Daryl, I know that you didn't like as much as you wanted.
I agree with the take, though.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy IX is a great choice if you want to play an RPG. That's all I got.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna suggest World of Final Fantasy Maxima,
Oh, good call.
which is, I mean, it is a better RPG, and it does have the catching monsters mechanic there as well. But sidebar, if you are looking for a Pokemon game and you actually want a challenge, I would recommend you to track down one of the older Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games on the 3DS. Those are
Ooh.
really difficult.
Very nice.
Really?
Good calls.
I didn't know. Wow.
All right. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap us for Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, I enjoyed it being our game of the month. I enjoyed playing with people. It was a fun time, even though we spent a while bashing it. Okay. Sergio, you want to go to our questions?
Yes, so last week we asked, since the Game Awards are tomorrow and we're likely to get at least, well, hopefully an announcement of who is going to be the fifth and final first pass character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, we wanted to know what people thought who was going to be the character. We have a couple of guesses.
Hey, first of all, you want to give Kevin a chance at this since he wasn't here last week?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Mine's going to be a very unlikely pick.
The car from F-Zero, the Blue Falcon.
The Blue Falcon, yeah. No, I want just any character from Golden Sun, especially Mia, the water adept. I just want something different.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Just put a Golden Sun character in the game.
I would like for Nintendo to acknowledge that Golden Sun was a thing. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. And, from all of the two Golden Sun games, just Mia's great. Man. I really love
All
Mia.
two of them.
All two of them.
Nice.
Yeah, so,
All right,
anyway,
Serge.
yeah.
Nice. Well, some of our listeners also commented and said, for example, Big Shot said, I'm hopeful they play off of last year's announcement of Joker stealing an invite. I know some hoped it would be Phoenix Wright putting him on trial for
Oh.
taking the invite or something of that sort.
That'd be
so that'd be awesome.
Mhm.
Napping Rat said Toadette. Well, he actually emojied Toadette.
Also cool.
Ooh, that is
Somebody
nice.
said Shy Guy for Smash. Do you guys have any idea who could have said that?
Was it Shy Guy?
It was Shy Guy.
Okay.
Shy Guy, shout out to Shy Guy.
And Dragon says that he agrees that he thinks it's Gino's time to shine. Other than that,
Yes!
he can also agree with the likes of Amaterasu and Spyro.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, I would love Gino, man. Bring him back, please. Oh, God.
Again, I would like Nintendo to just acknowledge him. I know he's one of the token images and a spirit, so I guess that's something.
Oh.
All right.
And to keep it Smash Brothers related, this week's question. So, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's basically a little over a year old now. We wanted to ask you, what is your single greatest moment or your favorite memory that you've had related to this game? It doesn't have to be just playing the game. It can be the many directs that we've had, the character announcements. What is your single greatest moment with the whole lore that this game brings?
Good question. Love it.
Ooh, me too.
And we will
I'll
answer
be
that
ready.
next week, right? I don't have to come up with
will.
one right now.
No, next week.
All right,
Next
cool.
week. Yep.
Nice. Well, with that, yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. We're going to jump out of here. But you can keep the discussion going by chatting with us on our Discord group. The description for this episode has a link to our Discord if you would like to join. We are also on Twitter and on Instagram as Nintendo Jump, and we also have a Facebook group. Please send us any feedback you have at NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com. The best way to support this show is through our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/NintendoJump, or by leaving a review for this show in your favorite podcast application. We would really appreciate it. This is Sergio, and on behalf of Daryl and Kevin, thank you for listening. We hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Forgot the rest of the tune from Turffield. Oh, gosh, how can I forget?
That one
Yeah.
bar was pretty good, though.
Oh, thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.